Okay, so in this video we're going to talk through using GoToMeeting, why we're using it, how we're using it, and how I work with GoToMeeting files. And obviously I can't actually record GoToMeeting in GoToMeeting, so there'll be an extra video on this CD which I've recorded using Camtasia, so I can demonstrate GoToMeeting and the settings we use and so on. So again, I've already touched upon this, but we tend to use GoToMeeting because I find it easier now. I find it quicker to actually create videos than Camtasia, because Camtasia, I don't know. Anyway, it just, you might find one work better than the other. At the minute, I find GoToMeeting works better, get more achieved. There's interaction, which can be helpful. But the thing is, what it doesn't do well, it doesn't do short videos. You need Camtasia if you're looking to create short videos of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, whereas GoToMeeting is good for in-depth discussions, Q&A and so on. Okay, and of course, with GoToMeeting, I think there's a limit of 14 people or something. I'm not entirely sure. So you can, have a bunch of people on the line, and there's no particular length to how long the recording is. So you can record group interviews that way, for example, which might be a good way to record interviews. There can be two people interviewing one per, anyway, basically it can work very well for two people, multiple people, depending how you want to do it. So those are some of the benefits. Okay, and you can even, for example, change presenters so someone else can take control of your computer screen, and if you want to do that. Okay, so again, in the other video I talked through the settings I use, but let's say you've recorded. Actually, just let me backtrack a little. How we plan is the same way really we plan a Camtasia videos, but instead of breaking it down on a per video basis, we really say, right, in this video we're going to cover this broad topic, and it breaks down to this. So just bullet points of broadly what we're going to talk about and so on. And sometimes we do Q&A all the way through. Sometimes we do like a monologue section like this, and then a Q&A. So yeah, it just depends how you wish to do it. And then you end up with a video file. And I strongly suggest you don't use GoToMeeting's proprietary format, but rather convert to WMV. When you finished your recording, and I'll show you that in the other video. Okay, so I actually use Camtasia for editing these videos. Okay, so I just drag the file into Camtasia and work on it how I work on regular video files. Just drag it into the timeline, extract the audio, and you can see because it's a lot larger, it's actually, how long is this recording? Okay, over 2.5 hours. So it takes a while for the audio to process here. Okay, I'll let it do that. Okay, one thing worth mentioning, you may never come across this issue, but I did once and it really confused me, but I've only come across it once. Very occasionally Camtasia struggles with GoToMeeting videos. Very occasionally. It's only happened once to me out of dozens of videos. So what I had to do then is use other software like AVS Video Converter, for example. So you could use AVS Video Converter to convert the WMV file, which is a format GoToMeeting saves, to AVI, for example, and then you open that AVI in Camtasia and everything worked fine then. Or you can use Microsoft Windows Movie Maker, which comes free with Windows, and just drag any video into that, and you can change the format that way. So that's another option. But as mentioned, I do find AVS Video Converter works very well, and I've used that a lot, and it works very well for QuickTime, and works for AVI as well. Or there's also any number of video converters that can convert WMV to AVI. So once you've got a file that works, and actually just to explain, the reason I knew there was an issue with the file is because with one particular video file is every time I converted it, it stopped at 18% conversion every single time, and I couldn't work it out because this never happened before. So after a lot of Google research, I found it is sometimes a very occasional issue with GoToMeeting video format and Camtasia. So that's, a work around that issue. So now, okay, let's export audio. Save audio as. Okay, let's save it to the desktop. And this could take a while, so I'm just going to pause. Okay, so I saved out the audio from the video, and I opened it up in SoundForge. And you can see these vertical lines. That's clicks, and sometimes happens with GoToMeeting. So what I do, I just zoom in, select them, and we don't need them at all. So I just select them, process, normalize, and then just put this to, well, basically as low as possible, and it effectively mutes that section. So let's zoom out. If we do the same with the other clicks. And you can just press play to check it is a click, and you'll generally find it is. Okay, and the last one here. Okay, and then there's this section which is slightly louder, so I would just find that and just put it more in line with the rest of the audio. So select that, process normalized, do it as -6. Okay, zoom out, and now process. This could take a while, so I might actually cancel it. But again, just applying the equalizer to applying the equalizer setting I used to the audio. So I would do that. That's going to take ages, so let's just cancel that. And then I would normalize it to as high as possible. But that's going to take a while as well. So anyway, I've shown all this before. And then I would save the final WAV file from applying those changes. After applying those changes, go back to Camtasia. I would import it. Let's see, it's here. There we go, import media. Okay, and it's test.wav or wave. So there it is. So then again, as shown before in the previous on the previous video, audio track 1, uncheck that, so get rid of that. Actually, let me do that because I have to do that afterwards. So test.wave, there you go, drag that there. Now get rid of audio track 1. And what I do, just make sure click, hold and drag the video, move it to the left just to make sure it's as far left as possible. Click, hold and drag the audio, make sure that's the same. And then make sure it's level at the end. So so the video and audio do sync up. Yeah, that looks fine. So let me zoom out. Okay, and that's pretty much it. And then I would save. I would process this to a master AVI file, and then convert to whatever format I want to convert to. Or let's say this larger recording is made up of 3 videos just recorded in one session. I would just find where each video breaks. The break between one video and another. Click, hold and drag, select that video, and then just produce selection as AVI. So let's say it is 3 videos as part of this larger recording. I would end up with AVI 1, 2, and 3, and then I could just use those to do batch conversions into Flash format or whatever. So it's basically the same process. That's how I work with GoToMeeting. And yeah, it works well. And, as mentioned, I tend to be using that more than Camtasia these days. So, Not sure how much more there is to say. I'll pause here, and then if there's any questions, we'll come back with the Q&A. But as mentioned, also on this CD, there'll be another video recorded in Camtasia showing you the settings that you, the settings I use for GoToMeeting, and how I use it, and yeah, okay. All right, so I think you've just got one question, Dom. So okay, over to you.
Yeah, my one question, Louis, would be just, as you showed in SoundForge just then, getting rid of clicks and what have you, when you were doing some audio editing. My slight concern was that it might mean that the audio is slightly out of sync with the video when you're sort of getting it back into Camtasia editor. So basically the only thing I suppose that is a concern is if it's a video which has a lot of movement and shows lots of different screens, etc., and even if it's something that actually shows people talking on screen, then you've got the issue of this, being out of sync and synchronicity being maybe slightly wrong.
Well, no, that would only be the case if we actually delete those sections, thereby actually removing sections of the video. All we're doing is selecting sections and muting those sections. So the audio is exactly the same length. We've just muted a very select areas of it.
Okay, so the key thing there, therefore, is when you are muting, don't cut elements of your audio out.
Well,
just mute them.
Yeah, you don't want to edit. You don't want to start cutting the audio and stuff separately to the video. If you want to cut out sections, make sure you do it in Camtasia. So you're cutting the video at the same time as the audio. But if you're just cutting the audio, then yeah, there's going to be a synchronization problem, and that's a real hassle to fix. So yeah, just do. All I do in SoundForge is maximize the volume, apply the equalizer, mute clicks and stuff like that, and then re-import it back into Camtasia. And then in Camtasia, if you need to edit sections or delete sections, just select those sections and delete the video at the same time as the audio, and then everything should sync up. And you can always check that at any time with zooming in a bit and then just going to the far right, and they should align, and also far left. And only once out of hundreds of videos has it happened that when I saved the audio from the video, it corrupted the audio, and then that caused issues. That's only happened once. So generally, unless if you're careful, then the audio and the video should stay the same length.
Okay, and just to be clear, I might have missed it. When you're zooming in, say, on the video and you want to edit, the way to do it is you just look at it on the preview screen up above, and if there's a section that needs cutting out, then you just find the equivalent section on the storyboard below, using the sort of time as the guide. Well, if there's a section you need to cut out,
you can watch it here, but it's not. I don't know. It's maybe not the most. You can, of course, watch it using this viewer here. Or if you're saving it as AVI, you can just watch the AVI in any video player, make a note of any issues, the time, and what the issue is, and then you pull the AVI into Camtasia, go to those specific times, and then you can fix those issues there and then. For example, let's say there's an issue at 33 minutes. Okay, and you can just put the marker here, have a listen, and if check where the issue is, and then you can select and delete, cut selection, or do a split, or whatever it is. So yeah, that's how I've done it. But as much as possible, I try to pause if there's pause the video so the recording flows. Pause while I'm recording so the final recording sounds fine, rather than just recording and making lots of mistakes and then going back to editing, because going back and editing them out, because it just creates a huge amount more work and slows the whole process down.
I can see that, it would be very fiddly, because you're having to zoom in massively. You probably have to zoom in even more on that storyboard timeline to be able to actually take out the 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it might be, that's where there's been a bit of a mistake. It's and if you've got to do that several times on a 2-hour video or 2.5-hour video, then that's a real pain.
Yeah, when you do that, obviously make sure to check your video again, especially the sections you've edited, because once I edited a video and I actually deleted an OK section and left in the bad section, So I had to completely, I had to completely redo that. So it's just try as much as possible to actually avoid having to edit your videos. It just makes things a lot easier.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Louis. No more questions on this.
Yeah.
But thanks for showing us.
Oh, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So, yeah, there'll be the other video recorded in Camtasia talking through GoToMeeting. And again, a lot of this, I haven't touched upon the more advanced features of Camtasia, for example. There are quite a few. They've got plenty of tutorials on the website for that. What I really wanted to put across is just, I guess my methodology, which I've never shared before, actually, on how I've recorded hundreds of videos, what I've learned from that, and so on. So I think this pretty much wraps it up. So, thanks very much for helping out with the videos, Dom.
It's been a pleasure, Louis. Thank you.
And thanks so much for watching these videos.